Hi guys, welcome back to my channel and thank you for being here once more. On this video, we're going to be talking about how I found out I was pregnant when my baby was just 6 weeks old. So if you're interested in watching, or maybe this has happened to you and you want to know kind of other people's stories, please stay tuned to watch. So I'm going to take you way back to the very beginning. So just off the bat, I'm going to tell you that Chris is a Hurricane Harvey baby, the Harvey baby. He was conceived during Hurricane Harvey. And so yeah, and I know he was conceived on that particular day, on a particular day, because it was like the first and only time, that happened. So I remember that night, after that happened, I was so worried. I couldn't go to sleep the whole night, guys. I couldn't go to sleep. And I kept praying. I was like, oh my
God, please don't let me be pregnant. Look at me, I'm a mess. I can't even get into a routine. Look at me.
The days pass by and you start forgetting about it. You start forgetting about it and you're like, what are the odds that I would get pregnant again? Like, what are the odds, right? First of all, I was telling myself I'm not even that fertile because it took me a while to get pregnant with Damien. So I started counting my days, and it's really late in the cycle. I shouldn't get pregnant. I'm gonna take off my bangles because it makes a lot of noise. So it was on day 21, and it's too late, right? You're supposed to ovulate a lot earlier than that. So yeah, so it started being the thoughts started fading. Time goes by, and the day that I was supposed to get my period, I didn't get my period. I didn't. So, but still, you know how they tell you when you give birth, your cycle doesn't regulate. It's not regular yet, and if you're breastfeeding, it's even more irregular. So I wasn't too worried about it. So I had an appointment with my OB, and that day I was a week late. My appointment, and I mentioned that to my doctor, and she says,
don't worry about it, like it's not a big deal. You're gonna be fine. Your period will probably come in a few days. Your period is not gonna be exact, especially not right now. You just gave birth.
so she put me at ease at that point, but still they wanted to test me. So the girl leaves, right? And they leave me alone, and I'm like,
I can really be pregnant. Like, what am I gonna do? Like, what am I gonna do with 2 babies?
but still, when you have, I don't know, you don't even fathom, you don't even think that this could happen to you. Well, not me. Like, in my head, it was like, this type of thing doesn't happen to me. Like, in my future, I never saw having 2 babies, right? So she comes back in, and I'm like, what is it, girl? What is it? And she's like, oh, it's negative. And I'm like, oh, okay, all right, I'm in the clear. Like, so yeah, so I leave the clinic, and as soon as I get in the car, I tell my husband what happened. He's like, okay, so you're not pregnant. That's good. And I was completely relieved. Like, the thought of me being pregnant just left. Like, it wasn't in my life anymore. It wasn't in my thoughts. It wasn't nothing. It was like, I'm not pregnant, right? So a few weeks after that, it was on a Sunday. The moment I woke up, guys, like, oh my gosh, whoever's been pregnant knows the feeling. Like, the first few months, you feel so sick. You feel nauseated. You feel tired, like extreme tiredness, and so many other symptoms. So I woke up feeling like crap. But remember, I took a pregnancy test, so in my thought, oh, it didn't, it didn't even register to me that I could be pregnant. So yeah, I got up and I told my husband, hey, I'm really craving menudo. Like, can we go get some menudo to La Michoacana, which is a meat market that sells menudo. So we go and get menudo, and my head was pounding, and we didn't have no ibuprofen at home. So we go and we get ibuprofen, but then I had this thought in my head, okay, I haven't gotten my period. The responsible thing to do is to test myself again, because if I am pregnant and I take this ibuprofen, it's, I can miscarry. But even then, guys, like I just did it because it's the responsible thing to do. I didn't, at that point, I didn't even tell him anything. I kept it to myself, and I told him, hey, can you take me to the dollar store? So he took me to the dollar store, and I bought 2 pregnancy tests. And we came home, we got home, and I took it and I left it on the counter. And when you're trying to get pregnant, you're like standing over it like a hawk, like you're trying to see the results. And no, I didn't. I went on with my business in the restroom, and I come to check it because I really wanted to take that ibuprofen. So I go to see it, and there's like 2 really harsh lines, and I'm like, I let out a scream, and my husband heard it from the kitchen. And so he comes to the restroom, and I'm like, with tears in my eyes, I was like,
I'm pregnant.
and he smiles, and he sees that I'm upset. And I know this is like, I don't want to trigger those of you that are trying to get pregnant, because I've been on that side. But understand me, I was so overwhelmed. When you just had a baby and you're trying to get on a routine, and it's like a blur. It's just like so many things at the same time. I can't even tell you what was my first thought. It was like a million thoughts at the same time. I thought about double strollers. I thought about double the diapers, double the formula, double the bottles, double the babies, obviously. How am I gonna do to go to the doctor? Damien is not even gonna be walking yet. He's not gonna be 1 yet. So many thoughts. Am I gonna be good at this? And just a lot of things, right? Money wise, or can we afford this, stuff like that. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I cried. It was so much on me. It was so much on me. So that night I went to sleep, and I woke up the next day questioning myself, like, was that a dream? Am I pregnant again? So, and then I realized, like, I am pregnant again. Like, I'm gonna be doing this all over again. If you've been pregnant before, you know the trauma that you go through, and it's very hard on your body to be pregnant and to have another baby. And I was gonna do that all over again a month after I gave birth, a month and a half after I gave birth. With time, you start thinking to yourself, this is okay, I'm gonna be okay, my baby's gonna have a companion, because my oldest didn't have a companion. So you start getting excited about, what the future brings and what's gonna happen, and how the future looks, right? And then you start becoming okay with it. But really, that has been the shock of my life. Nothing will ever top that, because it's such a blessing. It's such a blessing. Even though at that moment I was scared, I was overwhelmed. I had a really hard time to get pregnant with Damien. It took me about 3 years to get pregnant, and I would cry about it. And now that when I think about what happened to me, I tell myself, boy, does God have a sense of humor. Like, I kept on bugging him, hey,
Please, God, send me a baby.
and he sent me 2 babies. Like, he sent me 2 babies. He chose me to have 2 babies. It's such a blessing. And I'm not gonna say it's not overwhelming. It's overwhelming. In days that I cry and I question myself whether I'm being the best mom I can be, because being a mother at 17, 18 is completely different to being a mom at 30. When you're 17, 18, you go with the flow, right? You just go with the flow. You don't question yourself. You just do as you think is right. Now that I'm 30, I question myself all the time. Am I feeding the babies the right foods? And are they getting enough vegetables, fruits? Am I scolding them too much? And am I being loving enough? Plus, I have a 12-year-old, and then I have to get on 2 different levels, teenage level and baby level, and it's really hard. Every night, you're very critical to yourself, and then you compare yourself to other moms a lot. Well, this mom is cooking all organic. If she can do it, I can do it. And if she's doing it, I should be doing it, right? You compare yourself so much. It's exhausting. And not only that, you want to have your house clean. You want to have your kids looking good, feed them the right things, be a good wife, look good, lose weight, drink enough water, all kinds of things, right? And I'm a stay-at-home mom. I can't even imagine being or having to work, right? And then coming home and dealing with all that. So yeah. So back to my story. I went on a tangent there, but back to my story. I scheduled an appointment right away because I was counting the days, and according to my calculations, I was about 8 weeks pregnant. So I go to the doctor, and I sit there, right? And I'm like, dude, the doctor's gonna come in and it's gonna see that it's me again. Like,
Girl, I offered you birth control like 2 weeks ago. What happened?
anyway, so I'm there, and I'm just there like, oh crap, mortified. So she comes in, she sees me, and I'm like, oh my god. And she comes and she hugs me, and she's like,
Girl, oh my gosh. You, the same thing happened to me. I got pregnant like that too.
she went on to tell me her story, that she had a tubal ligation scheduled, and they usually test you. They test you for pregnant, if you're pregnant, and it came back positive. So she has kids like me, very close in age, and I felt less judged. I was like, oh my gosh, okay. So she's like, okay, we're gonna do this again. So she goes and she does the ultrasound. She's like, oh girl, you're very early on. And I'm like, really? Because I was like, really? I thought I was about 8 weeks old, 8 weeks far along. And she's like, oh no, you're about 6. And she's like, that is the reason why when we test the pregnancy test came back negative. You ovulated very far in the cycle. So at that point, there wasn't enough HCG in your bloodstream, or in your body. So about 6 weeks old at that point. So yeah, that's my story, and now I have 2 beautiful babies, and like I said, it's very hard, but it's very rewarding, and I have found a new respect for myself. I like leveled up, you know, like I'm a lot stronger now. I respect other women so much more. Other women that have multiple kids, that work,